Chill Army, DeAndreX7 here, and welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Journeys Hot Take Reviews. This is the series where I take 10 episodes from Pokemon Journeys and I review them all in a minute or less. And before we start off this video, I would just like to warn you guys who watch the dub that there are going to be some mild spoilers, so just a heads up and watch at your own risk if you don't want to be spoiled or whatever. Whether you get spoiled or not, that's not on me, that's you. I warned you guys. Now let's start off with our first episode, episode 51. This is the episode where Ash's World Coronation Series rank is revealed to have risen to 415. Go catches a Geodude. Ash's Farfetch'd is revealed to know Fury Cutter and Focus Energy. Ash battles Genba in a World Coronation Series match and wins, bringing his rank to 381. Ash and Go meet a trainer by the name of Rinto, and Ash battles Rinto and loses. This was a very solid, if belated, episode for Farfetch'd, finally giving his character proper shape and direction, offering a solid clash between two powerful Pokemon that does well to show us what the fighting type is capable of, while at the same time planting the seeds for something longer. Even with a rather annoying off-screen surge in Ash's rank, this was a really solid episode to bring the World Coronation Series back to the forefront. I'll give this episode a 6 out of 10. Next up we have episode 52, Agricultural Experience, Where is Diglett? This is the episode where Go catches a Diglett and a Dugtrio, with Dugtrio being given away to a trainer by the name of Endo. This was an overall unremarkable episode that mostly sticks out by the known format of the series and doesn't stand out much beyond some good Chloe and Go moments and increase our main characters as a bit more of a trio. Even with some missed opportunities regarding Chloe and some other series-related quibbles involving Ash and Team Rocket, the episode ultimately manages to be fun enough, provided one is okay with a slow-paced, low-stakes plot this episode promises to be from the get-go. I'll give this episode a 6 out of 10. Next up we have episode 53, Catch the Legend, Find the Guardian of Water, Suicune. This was the episode where Ash and Go visit Johto again, Go catches a Suicune and a Drowsy, and Go attempts to release his Suicune, but it chooses to remain his Pokemon while roaming the world. This was an episode that manages to handle a touchy style of capture quite well by focusing less on the act of catching and more on forging the bond with Suicune, with a solid threat and great execution for Go's character moments, on top of recognizing potential issues with letting the main character catch a legendary and dealing around them. This was an episode that's still guaranteed to ruffle some feathers, but that within the realm of stuff Journeys promised to try and do manages to be one among the higher episodes of the series thus far. This was an honest framework for potential future legendary captures to come. I'll give this episode an 8 out of 10. Next up we have episode 54, Sobble Impossible. In this episode, Go Sobble learns U-Turn. This was a solid, if somewhat late first proper showing for Sobble, managing to grant him a solid direction and development while highlighting Go's own, on top of resulting in an earned new move. Beyond some quite small quibbles and a perhaps slightly too long first half, this was a quite good growth and training episode that does what it must do in addition as it should. I'll give this episode a 6 out of 10. Next up we have episode 55, The Tale of You and Me in Glimwood Tangle. In this episode, Ash, Go, and Chloe visit Galar again, Go catches a Morlul, and Ash, Go, and Chloe visit Bologna and meet Opal for the first time. This was an episode that for the most part manages to work very well as Chloe's first proper active adventure within the Pokemon world, even without allowing her to keep Ponyta as a capture. Opal's usage may or may not feel like a waste counting on the long run, but on the whole, the episode achieves its intended purpose in Chloe's character development. I'll give this episode a 7 out of 10. Next up we have episode 56, Wickstrom of the Elite Four, The Hall of Chivalry. In this episode, Ash and Go visit Kalos again, Ash and Go meet Wickstrom of the Kalos Elite Four for the first time, Ash's Farfetch'd learns Detect, Ash and Go complete Wickstrom's training course at the Hall of Chivalry, and Go receives a metal coat from Wickstrom and uses it to evolve his Scyther into Scizor by transferring it through a trade machine while holding it. This was an episode that delivers a significant yet entertaining training episode, with an honest showing for Wickstrom as a character and great development for Farfetch'd that marks a decent progression from his prior Focus episode while also still keeping room for future growth. Next up we have episode 57, Love is Psyduck. This was a down-to-earth episode that does good in expanding some on Chloe and Chris's characters, but is held back by not having much of a plot beyond the interactions, and a few choices it made were a bit in poor taste considering the remainder of the series. This was an episode whose enjoyment depends heavily on how one likes the interactions provided. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Next up we have episode 58, Panic, Gulp and Ball, and Come On Choodle, The Turtle Race. This was a 2-in-1 episode that, while unlikely to alter the minds of anyone who's not a fan of this style, realizes what it wants to try and do quite well. Between one half episode being defined by wacky nonsense humor and the other opting instead for a still wacky but more grounded style that complemented one another nicely. This was a solid showing for these kinds of episodes. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Next up we have episode 59, The Lost Grookey, Who is the Trainer. In this episode, a Grookey belonging to Team Rocket releases itself and joins Go's team. This was an episode that, various bouts of controversy aside, does well as an atypical form of capture episode, twiddling with Journey's concept while using the most important cast, alongside putting some small patches on some long-standing problems with the show. This was a reasonably wholesome episode on the whole, and one Go fans are certain to like. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Lastly, we have episode 60, Aim to be a League Master, Charge with Chivalry. In this episode, Ash's World Coronation Series rank is revealed to have risen to 273, Go's Scizor is revealed to have learned X-Scissor, Go catches a Bellsprout, Ash and Go encounter Rinto again, Ash's Farfetch'd evolves into Surfetch'd, and Ash has a World Coronation Series match with Rinto and wins, bringing his rank to 184. This was an episode that, in spite of some issues inherited by Journey's sloppy structural choices and a few poor musical choices in animation, does well as a matchup to close Ash's current mini-arc, resulting in the arrival of Surfetch'd, with a good opponent in Rinto and a quite well-written Ash. I'll give this episode a 7 out of 10. That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you all for watching, and don't forget to smack that like button, and also don't forget to subscribe if you guys want more videos like this, and click that bell icon while you're at it. I guarantee you it's 100% free, and be sure to check out all of my other content. Until then, I love you all, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Only good, Chill Army.